you very much, Sabrina.
Sure.
So far, U.S. officials, including but not limited to Secretary of Defense Austin, they say repeatedly that there's no conditions set on the use of the U.S. ammunition provided to Israel.
Yeah.
And just in the past, you've seen the pictures you say yourself that there's been an attack against an hospital, with massive hundreds of casualties. So isn't there any concern within the Department of Defense that whilst you're supplying these military assistance, you kind of part of it, or like you might be militarily involved in any possible war crimes committed against civilians?
So what I will say is that exactly what you just mentioned, what you just said, is that we did not put any preconditions on Israel when it comes to using our security assistance. From the beginning, what we have said is that governments like us, our democracies, is what separates ourselves from Hamas. We certainly expect Israel, as with any ally or partner, to uphold the law of war. It should be very clear that Hamas is the one putting Palestinians or those in Gaza at great risk. I mean, they are putting their command and control units inside hospitals, inside areas where there are innocent civilians. So the fact that they've set up command centers at these hospitals just shows the brutality that they're willing to engage on, that they're willing to use civilians as a way to mask their operations, but also to see them as casualties. That's not how we democracies are going to, or how the Secretary in his conversations with Minister Gallant, we have always emphasized that the law of war be upheld.
Have you seen that so far? Be upheld, the laws of war by Israel?
We are in constant communication with the Israelis. We have seen them, I think, be very deliberate about where they are striking, continuing to target Hamas locations and away from civilians. Idris, and I'll go to Tom.
I mean, you just further to this point, you talked about how, what separates the U.S. and Israel from Hamas is your democracies. You expect them to follow the rule of law. But Israel has a very long and well-documented history of targeting and killing civilians. We saw it earlier this morning when the UN said they killed 5 and now roughly 500 believed to be dead. I get the point you're trying to make, that is the expectation, but why not say, given your history, even though you are an ally, we will put in end-use monitoring systems, we will track you in the way that we track other countries. Why not put those guidelines in place, knowing what you know about them?
We feel confident in our discussions that the Secretary has had with Mr. Gallant. You just saw Secretary Blinken was back in Israel for a second time in just less than a week. The President is going to Israel today. These are certainly things that will be discussed, but again, we did not put preconditions on Israel when it came to providing security assistance. We feel that Israel is, and democracies like Israel and us, should follow the law of war and will follow the law of war in protecting innocent civilians and directly targeting where these known terrorists are.
I guess they're not, is my point. And just because a command center is in a hospital, it's still a war crime to target those, right? So I guess what I'm saying is there is evidence that they are not doing what you're saying they should be doing. Why not then say, okay, we will now put in the restrictions?
Well, again, in relation to the report that you're referring to, I've seen the reports. I don't have any more details to provide at this time. I don't know who is responsible. We don't have all the facts, and I'm sure as we learn more, that will inform conversations. But right now, I'm not going to go down a hypothetical road of who is responsible for something. What I can tell you again is what the Secretary has been very clear on is that we expect Israel to uphold the law of war, and our priorities, our objectives in supporting Israel is making sure that Israel has what it needs through our security assistance, sending a continued strong message of deterrence that should any other actor think of entering the conflict, that they think again, and that we are being mindful and vigilant of any threats to our U.S. forces. Tom?
Yeah.